Thank you all for joining me again. Welcome to my home in Minneapolis, but also we are going out to Louisiana for this class as well to learn from my friend Rabbi Feivel Rubenstein, who is involved in so many amazing things. He's an educator. He has his own sort of business through freelance Judaism, and also is the programming director for Northern Louisiana Jewish Federation. And he is here to teach us a text or a tradition that he is holding to during these times, which we are all sort of struggling to find a connection. And so we are hoping that this class, Rabbi Miller and Rabbi Friends, will allow us to connect with people and what rabbis are holding to enlighten you all. So Rabbi Feivel, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thank you, Rabbi Miller. So excited to be here. Really just thrilled about it. Should I just dive right in?
Yeah, so I'm going to have him just dive right into the text that he's going to be teaching us, and he's going to explain sort of why it is the text that he's holding to right now. He even is, as a true educator, might have some props to show us, and so I'm very excited to have you.
Thank you so much. So the text that I want to share to you and all of your viewers is a text I hold really dear to my heart. And it's a text that I hold dear to my heart, both figuratively and then also literally. I actually wear it around my neck. You can see it right here. You can't quite read it. It's a little small from this view, but it is right there. I'll show you a little bigger in a second. And what's amazing to me about this text is that it's good for any day. It really is. And yet, in times like this, it holds especially true and especially dear to my heart. And to the point where I actually have even had it engraved. This actually comes from Rabbi Matthew Marco, who was a master carpenter before he became rabbi. And it has the text, so I'll share it. The text is, Rabbi Simḥah Bunim mipshisrim. This Rav Simḥah Bunim from a place called Shiesach, not really sure where that was, but he used to say, and I'm going to paraphrase here, a person should have two coins, well, two pockets, and in each pocket on either side of him, he should have a coin, and on one side of the coin, it should read the words, and that's this side here, Bishvili nivra ha'olam, which means the entire world was made just for me. But in the other pocket is the phrase "Va'anochi afar va'efer." I am dust and ash. And Rabbi Simḥah Bunim says, essentially, you should use whichever one you need when you need it. So what does he mean by that? What he means by that is that we live in a world that is a roller coaster. It doesn't matter how blessed you are. It doesn't matter how hard of a life you've had. Every day you will have better days and you will have worse days. And we all share that. And so on those days where we're feeling really, really rough and we need a little bit of a pick-me-up, we're reminded by that coin physically in our pocket, or in my case, the necklace around my neck, that actually I'm here for a reason. That God put me here. The world was created for my sake. I am here with purpose and I matter. And yet on days when that might be a little bit too haughty for us and we're thinking a little bit too much of ourselves and life's been just a little bit too good in the last day, week, month, whatever it is for the viewer watching, we're also remembered va'anochi afar va'efer, that I am nothing but dust and ash. I am made up of the same material that every other human being on the planet is made from, and I'll return to the same place that every other person is made from. And what I love about this in this particular time, because that's really great anytime, whenever you're feeling up, whenever you're feeling down, it's wonderful. However, in this time, I like to actually look a little deeper, because where that first part came from, Bishvili nivra ha'olam, where that verse comes from, where Rav Simḥah Bunim of Shiesach gets that from, is actually from the Mishnah Sanhedrin, chapter 4, Mishnah number 5. And it comes in a little section that talks about why God created one person to begin with. And what comes of that discussion in the Mishnah is that by doing it this way, God proves that God is the God of everyone, and therefore we are all in the same boat. And it doesn't matter your religion, and it doesn't matter your race, and it doesn't matter your beliefs, and it doesn't matter anything else about you. No one can look at each other and say, well, I'm greater than you because I have better ancestry, or because God likes me more, or because of anything. That you have to say, listen, for my sake, the world was created, in the same way that you can say, for my sake, the world was created. So in these times where it takes us a little bit more to consider the other, when we're all a little bit scared, when we're all feeling like I'm sheltering in place, I'm locked down, I'm doing my part to keep me safe, we also remember that it's not just about us, because we all have the same father, mother, deity in heaven, which is God. And for my sake, and for your sake, and for everyone's sake, the world was created.
That's beautiful. That's so amazing to think about. You know, in this time, it's so shattering, really. It is, because none of us actually know, really, this is a first for all of us. No person really in this world can say, oh, I've experienced this, except if you're maybe 103, which thank God they last the Spanish flu. But besides that, none of us actually understand what our responsibility is to the other. And it's really interesting that you mentioned that, because I taught just on Friday about the midah of cleaving to your friends and what that responsibility means. And I put it in a way of connecting to people, but what the interesting insight that you provided me today is the idea of this world was created for all of us. And so we actually have to think about each individual person that we could impact with our life choices, right? And that's really eye-opening to sort of think about, and how we might think about how we react with the world, even though we might not, as you mentioned, be interacting physically in that world, but by choosing not to, you're enacting this aspect of Judaism. And that's really fantastic. And, you know, I love this teaching. I shared with you earlier, this is one of my favorite teachings as well. It's fantastic. And I think for me, it's like, so then how can a person think about this text in a new light in this next week to sort of connect them to their Judaism, but also enacting their Judaism? Because all of us really are in this world sheltering in our homes as a spiritual practice. So how can we maybe potentially enact your teaching from the confines of our home?
Yeah, and I love that you bring up this mitzvah of cleaving to your friend, right? Cleaving to your neighbor, and I never thought of it in that light either. Of this idea of how do you cleave to someone when you physically cannot cleave to someone, and I think the reason why it especially makes me really smile to hear you bring up that particular mitzvah is that. In that same section of the Mishnah, I'm like really going to rep this Mishnah here. It's Mishnah chapter 4, number 5 of Sanhedrin. But fair warning to all the viewers, it starts out really, really weird. It starts out about like death penalty and politics, and like skip the first half.
Right.
But when you get down to the second half, one of the other pieces that comes out of this Mishnah is the statement that whenever you save a life, it is as though you've saved an entire world. And when we're thinking about what it means to shelter in place, even if you, like myself, or I imagine Rabbi Miller, are younger, healthier, not really an at-risk person, you know, if I get sick, I'll probably be fine, most likely. It's not about me. It's not about whether or not I can brave this. It's a matter of if I am responsible for going out and getting someone else sick, and that leads to the destruction of their life or even hindering their life in any way, it's as though I've attacked an entire world, says our Mishnah. And that's a much bigger weight to carry on your shoulders. So we really do want to take it very, very seriously when we talk about sheltering in place and paying attention to our surroundings. But I think it goes beyond that, because to your point, of how do we enact this in our own lives, we also need to remember that we matter too. So if sheltering in place is going to make me go stir crazy because I'm in my apartment or my house and it's, I can't do anything and I can't go anywhere, or maybe I've got small children at home who are really, really loud all of the time, and I can't, sorry, my technology rings everywhere when it
No
rings.
worries. I understand having small people running around all the time. It's okay.
So, it's very easy to go stir crazy. It's very easy to realize, as you said, we've never dealt with this before. If you are somebody who usually works from home, you probably don't do it with your family around. If you're someone who doesn't work from home, you probably have no idea how to navigate this world. And it can be frustrating and infuriating. I know my wife, Rabbi Sydney, who is a rabbi here in Shreveport, Louisiana, like Rabbi Miller, has a congregation and is now figuring out, how do I use Zoom? How do I engage my congregants? How do I do all these different things? And it can be really frustrating. So to take time out of our day specifically for self-care, I think is also a way we can embody this text of Bishvili nivra ha'olam, the world was created for me. I'm going to put in my calendar a 20-minute break every 3 hours or whatever it is to do some jump rope in my living room. If you've got a backyard, step into your backyard, get some fresh air. If you've got a front patio and you're not surrounded by neighbors who are so close who are going to run up to you, step out onto your front patio. Get that fresh air. I don't know how cold it is over there in
well, we had some snow last night, which is crazy for me. Still, being from Los Angeles, I like to think it's my second home. Longest time I've lived anywhere else besides St. Louis. But you're right. I even said, I'm standing on my deck or my patio deck on the 5th floor here because I need it. I need to not be in the confines of my walls in some level, because even though it seems odd to do, maybe, I needed it for me, as you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what that's going to look like is going to be very different for each of us. Some people might be really into things that are conducive to the indoors, like yoga or meditation, for example. And others might need to stretch a little bit to figure out what it is that is going to be for them. Maybe it is a TV show that is their escape. Maybe it's just alone time. Maybe it's just saying to your family, listen, for 1 hour from 2 to 3 today, I'm gonna close the door and please I'm just gonna take some me time. And having that conversation with your significant others and with your family members to say it's not about you, it's about adapting to the time, adapting to our needs right now. And this is different and we all need to cope in our own ways. And that's okay, because the world really was created for me and I need to appreciate that.
Right. And your teaching is absolutely amazing, because what I think it actually tells all of us is self-care. And in these uncertain times, the self-care that we have is so different than anything we've ever experienced before. And I think it's important to say, yes, I might be with my family. Yes, we all are on lockdown. Yes, we all are in quarantine, self-quarantining or shelter in place, all of that. But I still need to take care of me. And yet the other aspect of your teaching is, yet I'm not the end all be all. So I'm not going to go outside. I'm not going to potentially put other people in risk. So that's that I'm but dust and ashes. Mm-hmm. And then but if I'm dust and ashes, let me still be taking care of myself indoors in my own home. And that's what I think a lot of us need to think about and what we need. And it's a scary time. And your teaching is beautiful for that insight, I think, really.
Thank you. Yeah. And to know that each day could be a bounce back and forth between those two needs.
Right.
It might be that you've got a rough day, and it might be you've got a great day, and it might be that within one day you've got, a rough hour and a great hour.
Right. And that's something that we're all going between, is actually understanding that it's a minute to minute, hour by hour sort of circumstance. And thank God our senior Rabbi Jeremy Fine, checks in on us and is just like, how are you doing today? And it's a real question to ask, because it really is a day by day situation. And we might be feeling on either side of those little inserts that we would be carrying in our pockets about which one we're hanging on to more each day. And understanding, though, it's okay to say, I need an hour. Give me 30 minutes. Now, if my 4-year-old would understand that, that'd be great. But to say I need an hour is amazing. So I just want to give you the last say, really, for anything else that you want to sort of sum up with.
Sure. I can empathize with the 4-year-old. I don't have one myself, so but no, just to wrap up, I think the message I'd really love to just convey to anybody who's watching this, and anybody who might hear it from, or anybody who might hear it from somebody who's watching this, is just know that it's okay. That whatever you're doing to take care of you, assuming that you are not harming others, but whatever it is that you're doing to take care of you, it's okay. Allow yourself to feel justified in what you need, and really take the time to take a deep breath and to remind yourself it's okay.
Right. So thank you for that message. I think that's a message that all of us need. Sometimes I think we might feel selfish when we need to say, I just need a minute, but that's not about selfishness. It's actually about enacting what we need for ourselves. And our tradition talks a lot about this in subtle ways. That is why I'm so excited that I'm actually able to bring all of my rabbi friends into bringing a text that they are holding on to during this time. And so thank you to Rabbi Feivel Rubenstein for talking to us about this and presenting this to us, and giving us insight from Louisiana. And thank you so much. And I hope everyone in your community, and with Rabbi Sydney and her community and her congregation, are doing well and are able to avoid this. And if not, may they be having a speedy recovery for whatever it might be. Thank you so much for joining us. And it was a true honor and privilege to have you.
Amen. Thank you again for having me.
Of course. So thank you all for tuning in on our Facebook page, on Temple of Aaron Facebook page. And we will have another one next week. Thank you so much.